This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Wednesday, August 30th of 2023. We're here at the second day of the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois. So glad you could join us for today's episode. In today's episode of Ag Matters PM, I talk with Eamon Flood. He is the Vice President of Sales with Sound Agriculture. I also have a check of that ag weather outlook, but first let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, we are here at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois, with Jacob Burks of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis today. Jacob, first off, what have we seen in the grain markets today?
We started the night off, overnight trade, a little bit more healthy, a little more positive. Got some selling pressure early this morning, and we've just been selling off here all day. You got corn and beans in the red here today. Corn's going to be a couple of cents lower, beans about 7 or 8 lower as we go into the close here. The wheat market was the one positive surprise though today.
Right, and just looking at all the markets today, of course, we have the beautiful weather today that you wouldn't think we'd be reacting to that, but otherwise, are we still pricing in that dryness, or is it, we had rain here overnight, a little bit went across the Midwest, are we having those, concerns come in as well?
Yeah, I'm down here at the Farm Progress Show, and I actually saw some mud puddles today. I was like, what is that? Yeah. But we're talking a lot about the heat. We're talking a lot about the dryness pattern to come, and like you said, it rained a little bit here. It's a breeze is blowing. It's kind of nice here today. But we know that forecast here, and the markets have been a little bit reluctant to go ahead and put a whole lot of premium into that weather. I think the markets have been burned a little bit on adding too much premium in too soon. So, I think it's one of those things that if we continue to see the dryness and it shows up, then you might have a little bit more leg to stand on. But you talk a lot about what this can do and how it can affect the production side of the balance sheet, and you're starting to hear a little bit of scuttlebutt across some of these early harvests. You're even here locally at this harvest that they did, there were some very good numbers that came out of these test fields here. So that's always going to tell when the combine rolls, and I think these analysts and the tours that we're doing do a great job of all that they can do. But it's real hard to get a true measurement of what that whole field's going to do.
Right, the Pro Farmer Crop Tour going through, and they found it looks like just slightly below what we were expecting on those crop conditions. But at this point, that's probably already factored it in, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very well advertised, and there's a lot of other crop tours that you've seen too, and a lot of those are showing some mixed bag of what's there. And if you look at the real numbers of what the tour did, it's probably a little bit higher than where they came in. There has to be some subjectivity to that report. They know the dryness is there. They know the heat's coming in August. So it's still, we're doing our best. They are doing their best job to guess of what this market's going to be, and I think that it's very important for the producer out there to just put themselves in a position where that can happen. If that takes place, we might see some higher markets, but we also know how what's out there in the field and what it could be as well.
Right, and we're also, end of August going into September, which is the start of the new marketing year. What do we expect to see from the markets? I mean, just a bit of sell-off as we get ready for that new contract?
Well, the first thing is it's always hard to rally the grain markets in the end of August. If you look back 17-18, August 31st was the low of the market, the low tick. And so to say, hey, we're going to get a big move up here during this month, it's just hard. There's a lot of deferred pricing. There's a lot of things that have to be taken care of this week. So, always look for that as being, hey, be cautious this time of year. Don't be too anxious, and don't be too aggressive making sales here, because there's a lot of times that we get some bounce as we go into September. You see a lot of different basis plays. Now, the other thing too is you're going to start seeing some harvest numbers speed up. This dryness is going to help that speed up. So that's going to change the parameter of where you're at in your local market, of what kind of basis opportunities you have. If there's corn hitting the market a little bit earlier, that may eat in on some of that basis for that old crop stuff if you have any left.
And then on the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex, any significant action today?
Negative. When we're down $1, so in the feeder cattle, we're down almost $1 in the live cattle. But what's $1 nowadays, right? It's there's volatility's here to stay. We just made contract highs yesterday in several different contracts in the feeder cattle and the live cattle. So you've got a really large optimism about the cattle market and the beef market. In the hog market, we've been kind of mixed a little bit. We've sold off here the last couple of days, but still at a relatively decent level. We're watching cutouts kind of falling apart on the hogs. But you look at the beef market and the proteins in general, there's a very, very friendly picture there. But when the friendly pictures can turn ugly pretty quick, and whenever you see action like you saw yesterday, making contract highs and then back off today, there's a little bit of reluctancy to just continue to find more buying power there. You're always kind of watching the outside markets to make sure that you don't see some type of big sell-off in the stock market, or any big changes on the interest rates, or any type of big changes on the dollar index. So we're watching all those outside markets to make sure that mainly demand, like what's the demand doing, and how does that structure out whenever you're looking at contract highs in the cattle market.
Right, and of course we're getting towards Labor Day weekend, end of the grilling season, but we will see maybe a few small spikes from the holiday seasons, right?
Oh yeah, you hope to, and you hope to just continue to see that demand peak up. I mean, seasonally, this is a time that we should be seeing the markets go down. So to see a big pullback in the markets wouldn't be fun, but it might be healthy to see some type of pullback in there to just get some stability and make sure. You always say that the markets have to bend their knees to jump, right? And so there's going to be some back and forth a little bit. But yeah, you go through this Labor Day weekend, which is something else that you got to look at on the grain side of things too. It's a 3-day weekend. There's a lot of things that change and a lot of things that move after a 3-day weekend. So you should see some balancing and some positioning. A lot of these bigger funds and stuff will try to neutralize themselves as they go into that weekend.
All right, Jacob, lots of great information today. For those of our listeners, our viewers who would like to get in touch with folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that aside from visiting at the Farm Progress Show?
Right. Yeah, meet me here at the food tent here in a second. But look at agmarket.net. Take a look there and do a 30-day free trial of our Intel. That's got all of our information, all of our commentary. We'd love to share that with you for free for 30 days. And you can find any information as far as to contact us there on the website.
Thanks for stopping by and visiting us at the show, and we'll talk with you again real soon.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Riley. Appreciate it.
That again was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. September corn is down 7 3/4 at 461 3/4. December new crop down 6 even at 480 3/4. September soybeans down 3/4 at 1381 1/4. November new crop down 5 3/4 at 1386 3/4. September soybean meal up 370 at 423 even. Soybean oil down 102 at 65.54. Chicago wheat up 7 even at 576 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 7 even at 748 3/4. Kansas City hard red wheat up 4 3/4 at 719 1/4. September oats down 16 1/4 at 474 3/4. On the Merck, August live cattle are down 220 at 178.80. August feeders down 65 at 250.05. October lean hogs up 287 at 83.60. Pork cutout up 242 at 94.52. September class 3 milk down 13 cents at 18.91. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. I had the chance to talk with Eamon Flood. He's the Vice President of Sales with Sound Agriculture. Now, Sound Ag has grown significantly even over the past year. In fact, this year at the Farm Progress Show, they had a nice big setup as compared to their smaller booth that they had in the Varied Industries tent last year. It was great catching up with Eamon to talk about the current state of Sound Agriculture as well as their top product, Source. We are here at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois, talking with Eamon Flood. He is the VP of Sales with Sound Agriculture. Now, obviously, a lot of cool things going on, ag innovation at the forefront here at the Farm Progress Show. So just give us an update on how things are going with Sound Ag right now and just what you guys are working on.
Yeah, well, thanks for stopping by, and it's good to see you again, Riley. Well, I mean, we just ended the 2023 year, and so we're into 2024. We have new formulations of product. We have a Source DC and a Source XC. DC was available in limited quantities in 2023, and now it's going to be available commercially to anybody who's buying our product to use for corn and and wheat and a handful of other crops as well. XC is for soybeans and a couple of other crops, but that's also an entirely new formulation that wasn't available last year. So still have the source products. They're slightly different in terms of their formulation, and the reason for that is to try to improve ease of use and performance. So obviously we're really excited about any improvement that we make to the product that helps make it easier for our customers to use it and higher likelihood to provide value and generate ROI. But we're also growing, and we had a great year in 2023, despite some of the headwinds that I think a lot of companies in our space dealt with, like fertilizer prices coming back down to normal, and then also just commodity prices, because obviously new products, new novel products like this, where we're still educating a lot of the market, it's often one of those products that's the first to get considered as sort of like, do we spend it on this year, or do we spend it on something else, right? Especially when you start to get some of those headwinds like we did early in the season with the lack of rainfall and commodity prices changing, all that. Despite all of that, we had we performed really well as a company, and we're continuing to grow. So I'm, in particular, in my role, I'm excited about the team that we have, because for the last 3 years we've been growing, right, and growing into new areas, and so by way of just adding more people, it means that we can reach more farmers, more dealers, and in lots of places that we weren't in before, right? So for example, we have someone in the Pacific Northwest now, so we can serve farmers up there, and then down south, and then even in some places like Iowa, Illinois, where we've seen a lot of success the last 3-4 years, we just have a higher concentration of salespeople and agronomists, and so it's just really exciting to kind of see that and see that momentum continue to build.
I think it's fun too. You know, last year at Farm Progress, you guys were in the Varied Industries tent. Now you have your own spot out here. We're in an air-conditioned trailer right now. You know, it's pretty neat to see the growth. So, speaking of Source, and just talking about that, before we go into the in-depth of the new products, the DCXC, let's just go a reminder again of how Source works, because you guys often call it like a caffeine for the microbiome, right?
Yeah, that's right. We call it a caffeine for microbes, and the idea is that it's a foliar application. And it translocates through the plant and into the root zone, into the rhizosphere, where that rhizosphere, it sort of then acts as an elevator, so to speak, providing nutrients from the plant to the soil, and then vice versa from the soil back up to the plant, and sort of serves as that elevator that moves those nutrients up and down and provides that exchange between the plant and the soil. And so when Source translocates through and into the rhizosphere and then into the microbiome, it activates different types of microbes. And the ones that essentially provide nitrogen, phosphorus, and then a host of other micronutrients as well. And so the other thing we like to say internally, in addition to it's caffeine for microbes, is use what you got, right? So as opposed to looking to add a synthetic fertilizer or a biological, right, which you're introducing a different, you're introducing different products, different chemistry, and then also in the case of biologicals, different organisms, right? In our case, we're not adding anything. We're just making use of what's already there, and obviously there's a lot of activity. And actually, in fact, I think somewhere between 70 to 80% of nutrients are actually provided to the crop via the soil microbiome. So we're really just trying to tap into that.
So then, building off of that, looking at Source DC, Source XC, first off, what's the main differences, aside from the crops that it's designed for, the main differences between the two products, and how are they building on, what you already had, kind of figured out for Source?
Well, the active ingredient for those products is different, and so that's the main difference, just from like a chemistry standpoint. What essentially that means, just to simplify it a little bit, is that there are certain crops that Source XC should be used for, and then there's other crops that Source DC should be used for. And actually, in some cases, you could use both products on the same crop. We recommend the products to be used on the crops that it's labeled for, based on performance data, though. So those crops that we're recommending for DC, we've seen performance from that, actually much stronger performance when that product's being used. So, but the active ingredient is the primary difference, and then how it interacts with the plant and stimulating the microbiome.
Right, and just kind of looking into the future with Source and building on that, like you mentioned, you've seen a lot of success. You guys are expanding across the country. What's kind of next for Source and just Sound Ag in general?
Well, I think the thing we're most excited about for this upcoming season is we've been known to we offer in the past we've offered a yield guarantee, right? To put our money where our mouth is, right, so to speak. That's been very successful. One of the things that we're seeing that we think is really interesting with how our product gets used by roughly, I'd say 20 to 30% of our customers right now, is that many of them are actually cutting back on synthetic fertilizer, primarily N&P, somewhere to the tune of roughly around 25 pounds per acre. And they're cutting back on N&P and then replacing that with source. And in many cases, they're actually maintaining yield while reducing their input costs, which, obviously when if they're maintaining yield, reducing input costs, that's, positive ROI to the farmer. But in a lot of cases as well, we're actually adding yield in addition to cutting back on input costs. So it's like a double, it's a double win, right? And from an ROI standpoint. So, but obviously cutting back on fertilizer, that's not something that lots of farms aren't necessarily willing to do that or interested, or if they are interested, I think there's a lot of risk there potentially, right? And so we recognize that, and so this season, one of the things that we're launching that we're really excited about is an N&P reduction guarantee, right? Which sort of like our yield guarantee, we're putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak. We are very confident that farms can, depending on what their nitrogen use efficiency score, if it's above 1.0 or it's below 1.0, that's sort of a threshold that we look at to try to recommend how our product should be placed. And if you're over 1.0, we would, most cases, almost every case, recommend that the farm cut back on synthetic fertilizer before using source, right? And so that's where we get excited about with the nitrogen and phosphorus guarantee that we're offering. It's a way to de-risk that decision for farmers and hopefully give them some peace of mind that, by trying this, let's see if it works out. We're confident that it will. And if farms trust us, right, and it works great. And if it doesn't, and we were wrong for some reason or another, right, we'll obviously backstop it up to $100 per acre. So we're really excited about that, obviously, because that's something that I think makes it easier for farmers to use our product and feel like, that they're working with a company that is willing to go as far as to back it up that way. And so we're really excited for farms to use that for the first time this year, and hopefully it leads to a lot of sales and a lot of happy customers too.
Yeah, a lot of farmers have been talking about applying potash this year for that phosphorus deficiency, so maybe they'll see some source in action and make some changes and activate the microbes instead of applying new ones to it. Lots of great information today, Eamon. For those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to get in touch and learn more, just keep up to date with Sound Ag and Source, how can they do that?
Yeah, go to our website. It's www.sound.ag, so sound.ag.
All right, thanks for taking the time to visit with us today, and good luck with the rest of the Farm Progress Show.
Yeah, thanks, Riley.
That again was Eamon Flood of Sound Agriculture. Let's take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, it is beautiful here in Decatur, Illinois. We actually got some rain last night, believe it or not. And, of course, things were a little muddy here this morning, as Jacob had mentioned. But all in all, pretty beautiful weather to see here today. Now, back in Iowa, seeing much of those cooler temperatures as well, although it might heat up into next week, the rest of this week as well. So let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, today we have mostly sunny skies with smoke in the western part of the state, those highs ranging from the low to mid-80s. Tonight we will have smoke or haze in some areas, otherwise it will be mostly clear, lows overnight ranging from the mid-40s to upper 50s. Tomorrow, again, smoke lingering in the northwest, but the rest of the state will see sunny skies, those highs ranging from the low to mid-80s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be mostly sunny with that lingering smoke and a high of 84. Shenandoah sunny and 80. Des Moines sunny and 83. Waterloo sunny and 82. Albia sunny and 82 as well. And Clinton will see sunny skies with a high of 81. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. You can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Twice Daily Market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network here at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.